Buying or selling a horse farm isn't like any other real estate transaction. It's not just about the number of acres or bedrooms, it's about the land, the barns, the footing, how well the property fits the horses and the riders and what they do with it. And guess what? The best equestrian real estate agents don't work alone. They work together. On today's episode of All Things Horse Farms, we're going to talk about why it's so important to work with an agent who collaborates with other equestrian real estate experts to get you the best results. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just learn more about the industry, this is a conversation you're not going to want to miss. Welcome back to All Things Horse Farms. I'm Kelly Martin, your host, owner of Home and Farms Realty, where we specialize in connecting equestrians with their dream properties. If you're new here, this podcast is dedicated to helping horse owners navigate the world of buying, selling, investing in equestrian real estate, or just learning more about it. Today, we are tackling something that's often overlooked: the power of collaboration among other equestrian agents. You're going to hear from a few of the equestrian agents that we work with and specialize in selling horse farms. We look for key agents. One, they have to be a full-time real estate agent. It can't be something that they do as a hobby. When you're talking about a specialized property such as equestrian properties, they have to have the basics of understanding how to sell residential property, because 9 times out of 10, there's a house. So that's step one. They have to understand land, barns, equestrians, and we do look for people who are actively involved in the horse community. So we can help tell about some of our listings and learn about some of their listings and talk to people that we meet at these horse events. So let's dive into why this collaboration is a game changer for the horse farm real estate. Horse properties are highly specialized. Let's start with the basics. Horse farms aren't just your typical real estate. I know I've said that a million times, but I can't get that through. And people who own horse farms already know. It is not your typical real estate. Sure, you might need a good house, but you're also going to need proper pasture management, safe and functional barns, high quality arena footing if you're going to have an arena, good fencing for horses, the right zoning and land use, reliable water sources, and drainage. What good is a horse farm if it's always flooded? An agent who specializes in horse farms, they understand this. But when agents work together, they bring even more expertise to the table. Whether it's knowing about the upcoming listings before they hit the market, finding off-market or connecting clients with other trusted equestrian professionals, working with agents who specialize in equestrian properties, you're going to get more access to exclusive listings and buyers. Working with a real estate agent that specializes in horse properties, you're going to get access to exclusive listings that might be getting ready to hit the market, aren't quite there yet. Exclusive buyers that are like, hey, if this comes up, let me know, I'll buy it. So that's the conversations that go on when we are out trail riding at horse shows or wherever we are. It is a family. Horse people stick together. We talk about things that we might be working on, kind of get the word of mouth out. So again, it's super important when you're working with an agent that it's an equestrian agent who has a network of other equestrian agents. Equestrian properties don't always follow the traditional real estate patterns. Some of the best farms are sold through word of mouth before they even hit the MLS. I can't tell you how many buyers of ours that we had been working with, and then we get a call and boom, we are able to connect the seller and the buyer before we even have to get into the marketing process. When you work with an equestrian agent as an agent who has a network, they can share off the market properties, they can match buyers and sellers more efficiently, they can usually negotiate a better deal with their specialized knowledge of what it is that you're buying. That means you as the buyer or seller, get access to more opportunities that might be available to only you and not the general public. Stronger negotiations and better deals. Let's be honest, a traditional real estate agent might know how to navigate and negotiate a home sale, but do they know how to advocate for a horse owner's unique needs? And every one of them I've met have been completely different or unique, or maybe not completely different, but they're different. What is the real estate value of a custom built barn? Hello, a typical real estate agent isn't going to be able to tell the difference between a custom built barn and one that went up in 3 days. How does the quality of the pastures impact the long-term property value? Should you negotiate repairs on the fencing system before closing? When you work with an agent who collaborates with other equestrian agents, you get an entire team that understands these things and they fight for what matters in your deal. A full support network is beyond just a sale. Buying a horse farm doesn't just end when you sign the closing papers. You're going to need ongoing support from fencing companies, barn builders, local veterinarians, trainers. A well-connected equestrian agent brings you into a community, not just a transaction. At Home and Farms Realty, we don't just sell horse farms. We connect our clients with a network of trusted equestrian professionals to ensure that they have everything they need long after the sale is done. We also are able to connect them with agents in other states that have similar values and negotiating skills and knowledge. Let's take a look at some of these agents that we would like to introduce that are within our network. I'm Kelly Martin. I am the owner and broker of Home and Farms Realty. I've been selling real estate for over 16 years, specializing in horse farms for over 16 years. I'm a broker in the state of Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. So I do cover all of those areas extensively, and I have agents in each of those areas as well. I am an avid competitor. I have reining horses. I grew up in the horse world. Started off just with like the open shows, and I had Arabians and then saddlebreds and did saddle seat and switched over to reining. And then I compete in the reining world. My kids competed in the reining world. My husband competes with me and against me in the reining world. And any of you who have spouses that compete, you know, it's competitive. So we actively have reining horses in training and at home. We breed them. We have babies. And we've built multiple horse farms, you know, all over Tennessee. So we definitely understand the construction process behind it. We understand the difference in, stall makeups, barn makeups, arena quality, arena dirt, all that stuff. So that's just a little bit about me. Our brokerage does focus on selling horse farms, but we do sell everything else as well. But that is our specialty, and that is why we started the Home and Farms Realty, is because we are very focused on horse farms. But we do sell lake homes, mountain homes, investment properties, all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to call on the next person. Like I said, I'm doing a roll call in the order that I see everybody. So make sure that you say your name, where you cover, who you with, what you specialize in, and then what your equestrian experience is outside of real estate and inside of real estate. So Sydney Friedman.
Hello, I'm Sydney Friedman. I'm also with Home and Farms Realty. I am in the East Tennessee area, so I serve Knoxville and all surrounding areas. I do a little bit in Middle Tennessee as well, usually more specific to farms, or I've had some close contacts move to that area. I have been a realtor for 3 years and similarly specialize in farms. Because of this region, I do a lot of investment properties and general single family homes and lake homes as well. But I love the farms because I have a very similar background to Kelly. I have built 2 farms myself, ground up, to include building arenas, building the barns, adding fencing. And I have been in the horse world my entire life. So I've ridden since I was like 4, and I started in the hunter jumper world. I'm originally from California. So most of my riding background is in Southern California. Grew up in the hunter jumper world, moved to Tennessee for graduate school, and decided to jump ship. And now I'm in the reining world. I also compete nationally. We breed, raise, show, give our lives to it. So again, very similar background. I've built multiple farms, so I truly know what goes into it, literally digging my own fence post holes, but also the cost. So I think I'm sure a lot of you will share the same perspective, but I think that's what really gives us that unique perspective when talking to our clients is you're like, I get it. I know the difference in this footing and this footing and this fence post and this fence post and the layout of your barn versus my barn and what makes it a training facility versus a personal farm. So I know Kelly and I have talked extensively about it, but we just have a lot of passion for it because we live it every day. And there's one story that I'll tell really quickly. Kelly and I were selling a farm a little over a year ago, and I had an agent call me and say, "That's a nice riding rink." And I was like, "Excuse me?" And he called it a rink. And I'm like, "Are we ice skating?" Like, and Kelly has a story about calling stalls cages. And it's just, as a seller or a buyer, I'd be like, "What are you have no idea what you're talking about." So anyway, I appreciate everybody here and having different experience and being able to just truly relate to your clients.
And again, that's kind of why we're doing this is because if I, refer somebody, to Sydney, I know confidently that she's not going to be like, okay, well, they can rent these cages over here or these crates, like, and it's crazy. So, anyways, but next person I see is Megan Christ. Is that right? Oh, you're muted.
All right, I gotcha. You're close. Megan Christ. Short eye. um, well, like a lot of you guys, I have the same stories. I have to laugh that, we see these advertisements for properties that have these horse pens, and you just have to laugh. Like, you obviously are not from this world. But I'm here in Ohio, in central Ohio. If you talk horse, I'm about halfway between the Congress and the Champion Center in Springfield. So between Columbus and Dayton, which is kind of a great little sweet spot to be in. I've been selling real estate for about 13 years. I've started in new construction, actually. And then being a lifelong horse girl, kind of found my groove here in specializing in horse properties. So very glad to be here. I think this is such a cool idea, especially this time of year when all of us are kind of looking for new opportunities and networking and things like that. But also built our 20 stall barn indoor arena here in Urbana. So I understand how stressful and expensive that process can be for sure. I grew up in the AQHA world. My mom and dad bred halter horses, but that wasn't really my thing. I always liked to ride. So as a pleasure girl, did the whole youth world deal, did some all-arounders, met my husband about 15 years ago, the horse trainer that I was never supposed to marry, of course, married the horse trainer. He has since started a trucking company, which was a little better business model than horse training for sure. But we still have quite a few of our own and develop for charity prospects and things like that, 2 and 3-year-olds. So took a little showing hiatus, but still ride a few times a week and enjoy the process. And my daughter is 6, and she's learning how to ride, and that's been really fun. So that's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. So you're in the AQHA world? Is that what you said? Yeah. Do
Yeah,
you know Brenda and Lee Looney?
that sounds really familiar.
They own Cool Breeze.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really good friends with them. They
Okay.
live in Tennessee, so I always ask people when they're in that world if they knew who they are because they've got a really nice stallion in there. So and they actively compete. So
Yep.
they do the Hunter Under Saddle and the Pleasure.
Okay. Very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's such a
Small
small.
world.
Yeah. Well, Jessica, I'm going to call on you because I know that you're heading to a showing. So I want to make sure that you get a chance to talk and introduce yourself before you have to get out of the car and go into that showing.
I appreciate that. Can you guys hear me? Okay, hopefully. My name is Jessica Suggs. I am a broker here in Texas. I work for Texas Ranch Sales, and we sell horse properties all over Texas. That's kind of my specialty. We do a lot of cattle ranches, your big luxury properties, hunting ranches, high fence ranches, resorts. But my specialty specifically is the horse industry. I've been in real estate for going on 11 years here in Texas, previous experience in Colorado and Arizona. Grew up in California in the rein cow horse world. I have stayed within that world, gone into the reiners. I lived in Colorado. I trained reiners for quite a few years, and I've been a part of the show world and kind of that whole background. Switched back over a couple years ago to the cow horse world. That's home to me. That's my love and my passion. Now that I'm doing real estate, I have been able to focus more primarily just on enjoying that world myself and not having to have clients, which I love. I switched that over to real estate, and I help those people find the right place for them, their horses and the training facilities, and we've got some really nice places here in Texas that we cover. So that's kind of the short and simple of me. I'm also brokered in Missouri, working on New Mexico and Oklahoma as well. So we're trying to travel a little more out west. We do have a couple other brokers that specialize in horse properties in some of the western states too. So I cover a little bit of everything.
Did you say Missouri?
Yes.
Okay. We're looking at getting into Missouri and Arkansas for our hunting division. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
I might have to pick your brain about the Missouri one.
For sure. There's a lot of property in Missouri. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
huge for duck hunting, it's huge.
It is. It is. There's the flyway zone, and I'm thinking about getting licensed in Arkansas because where I live, and I live kind of out towards East Texas, and I border Texarkana, Arkansas, and right
Yeah.
now this is completely outside of horse properties, but there's a really big push for a lot of lithium coming in right now, and I think that's going to be a really interesting
That is
take on the
interesting.
land perspective.
That is
So
very interesting. Yeah, we're right on the border of Arkansas and then down into Mississippi. So I think we're talking about adding Arkansas as well. But
I
mainly
think it'd be really
because of
smart.
the flying route.
I would. Yep. Yep. There's
So
good duck hunting out there for sure.
excellent duck hunting. It's crazy when we're hauling horses to Oklahoma. I mean, it's insane to see the amount of ducks that are just sitting there in the fields. So
Yep.
crazy,
It's
but
nice.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Jessica. Carson?
Hi, ladies. My name is Carson. I am primarily in the Tampa Bay area, so Pasco, Pinellas, Hillsborough County, and then sometimes I'll go up to Ocala in Orlando as well. I have 3 horses, so I ride and compete dressage, which is a lot of fun. I have my bronze and silver medal, and then I also have a paint quarter horse. I would love to get into some more of the reining. I think that would be so much fun. And then I have a halflinger too. So I started real estate 5 years ago. I got my license. My parents are realtors as well. So we are a family team, which is great. The combination of all of us. And then, yeah, I specialize in the horse properties and land as well. So the biggest thing with my area is there's not a ton of inventory, so just working to find those off-market opportunities is something that I focus on with the horse properties. But I love it, and I'm happy to be here.
We are excited to have you here. I love talking to like-minded people. It's great. Caitlin, how about you?
So I'm Kate Buchanan, and I'm with United Country, and I have a little bit of ranch work going on outside, so I'm so sorry if you can hear that. I cover the West Texas area doing equine real estate. My horse experience, actually, I'm originally from North Alabama. So I started as an equine facility manager out of a little place in Summerville, Alabama, teaching riding lessons, doing therapy with special needs and the Wounded Warrior program, and become an Alabama Special Olympics state judge. And taught riding lessons. I've done the 100 jumpers, the Western pleasure, the halter, the showmanship. I've gone from fast to slow. And then I just decided to invest in myself and moved to Texas. And I went to work for John Mitchell at Slate River Ranch in Weatherford, doing all the cutters from 2-year-olds to open horses. And I ended up joining with his 2-year-old guy at the time, Fawns Day Barbanson. And we went into the colt business together and helped him out a lot with starting cutting horse colts, 2-year-olds. We did a little bit of showing together through that program as well. And I have since bought my own place in West Texas, and I'm doing a little bit of the horses on the side. I'll help open trainers travel around the country and show. But in the meantime, I'm doing the real estate and breeding exotic livestock on the side. So I'm dabbling in a little bit of everything outside of horses as well these days.
That's kind of how it goes. Yeah, I mean, you kind of get a little bit in everything. People had asked me, so do you only sell horse farms? And I'm like, yeah, that'd be a dream, but no. Oh, we sell everything. I mean, like everything. So horse farms are just a specialty thing, but yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're here.
Thank you.
The next person I see on my list is Mary. Mary, can you hear me?
Hey guys, I'm Mary Acuna with Home and Farms Realty. I am definitely very, very, very new to this community. I actually, we have a lot of land that we are looking to develop, and my partners and friends that are in the equestrian community are trying to see if that's something that we can do where we currently own land between Jackson and Paris, Tennessee. And so we're just trying to be here and learn from you guys. What's the most that I need to be looking at if this is they're looking more for farms like Saddle Creek communities, or I guess outside of the Brentwood area. There's these communities, and we're trying to see if we can do something like that down here and see how that goes. Definitely at a smaller scale.
A little bit about Mary. She is actually in new construction, and she has developers that she is working with that are working on creating equestrian communities. So they are taking and looking at modeling what they've done in Brentwood, and then just outside of Nashville, and then in Ocala, and just all over the area. And they are buying up parts, big, large pieces of land, and they're looking at how to best utilize that land as equestrian communities, whether it is a common ground where there is a barn, the riding arenas, or whatever it might be. So
We
they're
definitely want where they can have private barns as well, like have a community, but where they can also have their own private barns. So just looking at different options, just here to learn. So, but the parcels of land that we currently have are about 100 acres. And so we're just trying to see where would be the first one if we do dive into this. And so,
um So I think it's really exciting. I've been part of equestrian developments before where it's been just equestrian communities. And I don't know if any of you guys have done any of that from scratch yet, where you help the developers and the contractors develop equestrian communities, but it does seem to be a trending theme that a lot of developers want to get into. I have a developer coming in from California that is working on buying up pieces of land outside of Nashville in the Franklin area, and we're putting in an equestrian community there as well, which is super exciting. I love those kinds of projects. Let's see. Emily, you're the next one that I see.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. Hi, everybody. My name's Emily Fobar, and I have been in real estate for 9 years. I decided to go the route of equine property specialist because everybody and their brother knows 15 different agents, and I felt like I needed that something just to set me apart from everybody else. And it was a way to mash my passion for the horse industry and horses and my big girl job, I guess you would say. So that's been really neat to develop that. I grew up from a family that was not from horses, actually. I met one of my best friends to this day when we were like 3, 4 years old at daycare, and she had horses, and it just was the bug that bit me. And my mom was like, "Oh, this is terrible." So I started competing when I was 10, 11 years old. I actually started out in the eventing world. So that was where I first started. Then went to Wilmington College, and they had an equestrian team there. And that was my first dive into the stock horse world. So the quarter horse world. Been up to, not shown at Congress, but know what Congress is about. I've shown at the Champion Center, just little open shows and stuff. Started horses from the ground up and everything in between. Worked at a breeding farm when I was in college for standard bred race horses. We fold out about 70 mares every spring. So I've got that side of knowing what and worked for quarter horse trainers, knowing what a quarter horse trainer needs versus a thoroughbred farm owner versus a breeding farm owner. And I'm located in Southern Ohio, pretty close to Cincinnati. I'm about 45 minutes. So we've got the racetrack down on the river, got a ton of connections in just various different industries. And I own my own farm. I bought my own farm in 2021. So I kind of had to rework some things, ongoing project. There's always a project around here. So new fences, all of that. So I think that, definitely helps in trying to sell a vision to a client. They go somewhere and they're like, "Oh, this just isn't going to work." I love being like, "Actually, if you look over here, we can do this or we can do that." And, I don't have a lot of folks. I have, a couple people that have just bought raw land, but what we see the majority of around here is an existing property that they're looking to make work for them. So being able to, provide those ideas and the different farms that I've worked on, the different trainers I've worked for, I think is something that I feel is a very strong skill set that I have. And then it's funny, I love all of the equine communities that are popping up all over. We actually have one that was just built. It's called Stone Pillars over in Loveland, Ohio. And it's got the community barn, it's got trails, little outdoor arena kind of thing. And it was a really big old family farm that they kind of broke up, but it's interesting to see all of these developers come out and say, "Hey, they've been doing this down in Florida forever. Let's spread it out to the rest of the world." So I'm working on my Kentucky license. I should have done it before now, but life gets in the way and all the things that we have going on. So that's something I'm definitely working towards so that I can service the northern Kentucky area. I've gone as far north in Ohio as Mansfield. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, or the Windy Knoll farm that was up in Mansfield, Ohio. I've sold as far north as that, but yeah, I love horses. I love horse farms, and I am happy to be here.
Oh, thank you for joining us. I love your story. Yeah, we go to Ohio a lot for horse shows. Don't we, Sydney?
My horse trainer is actually in Ohio, so I frequent that state way too often, but
Yeah. So, and Kentucky's its own thing when it comes to getting your license there. Like, I know we have reciprocity agreements with Kentucky, but it's like not the same as our reciprocity agreements with our other states where you just have to take either the state exam or whatever. I mean, Kentucky has its own like mini courses and this and that and experience that you have to go through. So it's not easy to get your Kentucky license from another state.
Yeah, they actually just changed that. Ohio did previously, we just had to take the law portion, and then the state exam, but that went away like 2 months ago. So now I have to take the full course hours to be able to get that. So I'm going to be working on that here in the next couple of weeks. Just well, it's kind of slow, and the ice and snow decides that it wants to melt and go away. So yeah.
Yeah, it's always a good time to add another license.
Yeah.
Well, it was great to meet you. Let's see here. Who do I have next? Starla?
Hi there, everybody. I'm Starla Trainer. I cover Alabama and Georgia. I also did not come from a horse family, but they were very gracious and put up with all my horse craziness. Luckily, I did grow up in an area that I was surrounded by horse farms, so I worked with OTTBs, showed quarter horse in my youth, and as I developed a family of my own, I really started more gravitating towards just groundwork, working with horses. I've taught riding lessons. I do a lot of trail riding now, but I've always been immersed in the equestrian world. I've been a real estate agent for 3 years, going on 4. And before that, I worked in lending, where I, again, had the emphasis on farm lending. In my area where I work, we definitely have a lot of properties that can quickly turn into the multi-millions. So I have kind of niched myself with clientele that are very diverse, but my specialty being a person who has owned 3 horse farms that my husband and I have had to create from the ground up. I definitely am able to encompass that vision and help people see the potential in a property so that they can make their equestrian dreams come true at a much more accommodating price tag. But I'm with, I don't know if I mentioned, I'm also with Home and Farms. Kelly and I go way back to the days when I was a lender. I go to all of our local events and try to learn about the needs that are currently changing because I'm not currently active in the show world. So I try to stay on top of trends and figure out, what is happening in the equestrian world to make sure that I am always one step ahead of the curve and making sure that I can service my clients.
Thank you, Starla. I already know you. It's nice to meet you. But thank you for sharing your story with us. And Starla does cover that region of Georgia and Alabama right in there. And I believe you're working on getting your Tennessee license, right?
Yes, and I have tossed around Florida, so we're going to have to talk about that.
Yeah, we are working on our Florida. I just have to take that broker exam. So once we get that done, we will be opening up another location in Florida. So the next person I'm going to call on is Melissa, because I know Melissa is hauling horses, and I want to grab her before she gets to her destination.
I had to stop to unmute. Sorry. I'm glad I get to go next. And my cell service is in and out. I'm in Central Arkansas. I service the Little Rock area. I'm with Keller Williams. I am on my way to do some endurance riding. I originally was really into dressage. I grew up riding dressage, and I grew up in Canada. So I grew up in Alberta, Canada, where you had to have a heated arena, and our horses were had to be blanketed and all of that. And since coming to the United States, I've been here in Arkansas for 15 years. I met some endurance riders and fell in love with that sport. I was an art professor before becoming a realtor 2 years ago. And I immediately knew I wanted to do horse properties. It's a very quickly expanding area of Central Arkansas. It's kind of blown me away how many people are coming here from all over the West. The land is much more affordable. So there's just been an influx of people looking to retire with horses in Arkansas. I'm super thankful for all of you. I love having a community of horse folks. And so I was super excited to see you all. There hasn't been very many people focusing on this niche in our area. So it feels like a wide open possibility for us.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I definitely encourage you to grab that opportunity when you have it. When I moved to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I told my broker, I said, I think I'm going to specialize in horse farms and start really branding that. He laughed at me and said, that's never going to work. And I'm like, this is Tennessee. Don't people come here for like horses? But he was from Chattanooga. He was just in his own little world and didn't realize the horse community that surrounded the area. And East Tennessee is a huge horse community. So I was right, he was wrong. And so definitely make sure you capture that audience if it's wide open, because once you do, the rest will follow.
It's totally true. It's just, and we have such a diverse horse community. We have a lot of barrel racers. We have a ton of trail riders. There's so much great land here, but there's eventers, jumpers, and so there's a lot of diversity in the people I'm working with. It's pretty fantastic.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, and it's great to meet you as well. All right, Jamie, you're the next one I see on here.
Hi, I am Jamie Scott. I am with Nashville Realty Group, and so obviously the Nashville, Tennessee area. I actually live about 45 to 55 minutes south of Nashville, and so that's more of my area that I cover. So it's, if you're familiar with our counties, Williamson County, Marshall County, Murray County, Bedford County, Rutherford County, that kind of south middle Tennessee. Um, I have been licensed for 8 years, and I just recently brought on a partner. My partner doesn't know anything about horses, but she has a master's degree, which I do not, and so she just kind of keeps the wheels greased for me because I am a people person. I'm in front of the clients. I like to go 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 and be a networker where she's the back office. As far as horses, I grew up in Florida, on the Gulf Coast, just south of Tampa, in a little community called Parrish. And I grew up showing and riding my whole life. It was mostly 4-H. 4-H is huge down there, especially for kids, obviously. But we would go up and we would also do the 3-day eventing in Ocala and Brooksville. But through the 4-H, we did the Southeastern regionals, and so we would qualify every year to, make it to the regional level and show that. I have a lot of friends in the quarter horse circuit, even still, and so I like to travel and go and watch them. I took a step back from the horse world just for the sake of raising my kids. It was one of those transitions. It was a hard decision to make, but money wise, it's hard to do all the things. And so I haven't really truly shown in a few years, but I do have a 10-year-old daughter that is all in. And she actually has won our Central Tennessee Dressage Association under 13 High Point 2 years in a row. And so we're big into that. She's getting a little bored with the dressage, as any 10-year-old would. And so she actually took a reined cow horse clinic, then fell in love with that. That was in December. And now she has decided that she wants to switch gears. And so I think that we're going to start go in that direction. As far as properties, I guess my expertise lies within the different areas that I've lived in and the different needs, as far as topography for horses. Um, I can't remember who said it, but it might have been you, Kelly, just about how there's so many people that, like, say the riding rink and things like that. There's a lot of people out there trying to sell and trying to speak the language, and they don't understand or know the language. I would say I'm more of a hobby farm seller. I have, worked and grown up and shown with the bigger trainers and all of that. We have our dressage barn right up the road and spend a lot of time there. But I never really was in the quarter horse circuit or any of the big breed shows, and so I haven't been in that world yet. I fully anticipate with my 10-year-old being all in on this that we'll get there soon and I'll be able to provide that for her versus, my parents just, we were constricted on the money part. We all know how expensive horses can be. Um, let's see, as far as the other areas that I work in, I do work in West Tennessee. My whole family lives in West Tennessee now in the Paris area. And so I will go to, Jackson, Paris, Henry County, those areas. And eventually that's probably where we'll move once our kids are grown. They've got their roots planted here. And so we have to stay here in Middle Tennessee until they're ready. But I think I think I covered it all.
The next person I see is Desiree.
Hello, I'm Desiree Kingston with Home and Farms, and I am in Tennessee. I do some in East Tennessee, but I mostly focus in West and Middle Tennessee. I did not grow up with horses. It was always on my Christmas list, but it was never financially feasible. I had tons of friends who had them, so around that, I was a special ed teacher before I became real estate. And a lot of my students did therapy with horses. It was a program called MARE. And it was absolutely amazing to see the progress that they would make with these huge animals when they would be scared of other things, but they weren't of the horses. So that really piqued my interest. And then a couple years after that, I married into a cattle ranch family. So that was a huge change and very different. So much hard work. And they ran Black Angus and, just finances again. Everything, every post, everything was down to the dollar. And they had great plans and they had so much elbow grease went into it. So I did get to see a lot of that early in our marriage and growing up. I specialize really in investments and aviation properties. But of course, being with Home and Farms, we get a ton of clientele that are all about the horses. I have, again, tons of friends here. My kids are kind of still young, but we're looking at it. My daughter, she's getting ready to turn 7. Is obsessed with ponies and horses. So I think whether my husband likes it or not, we're going to be entering in the world more than just for real estate. So, but I'm really I'm here to learn and just become the best in each area, and especially with horse and farms. So farms is more of my jam, farms, ranching, because I've never really showed, but yeah. I think I covered everything. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. So if anybody looking to move to Tennessee and they have an airplane, that's Desiree's thing. Like her and her husband have a private plane and they specialize in people who like to have their planes in like their backyards, which is a thing. Like people with farms have the runways and the private garages and stuff, which I was surprised to find out about, but I don't know how many of you guys have been to farms. I've been to a few farms where they're like, that's my airplane hangar. And I'm like,
Yeah, and it's very specialty. And again, relocation specialist, and that's part of the thing that we're talking about. We looked at a lot of different properties personally, and there can be the smallest dip or hill, and it completely throws it out for being an aviation property. So that is definitely a specialty that you have to have experience and knowledge. And like horse families, aviation families are very tight knit. So if you don't know what you're saying, it's just as obvious as if you don't know what you're saying in the horse world. So, and another thing people want to know about the local airports, if it's not possible to get property with their own landing strip, and just a lot of different factors go into it. But a lot of higher ranking horse families, farms, they may have their own small plane, and that might be an avenue that they're interested, because hangar fees are expensive.
Yeah.
Might as well have it on your own land.
Yeah, I actually was talking to somebody in Middle Tennessee that's looking to sell, and they've got a runway strip and an airplane hangar there. And then I've got a client that's moving in from California, and she's got houses all over, and she's looking to be outside of Nashville, and her budget's 3 million, but she has a private jet, so she needs to be close to the private airports. But it can't just be any private airport because it has to have a long enough runway
For her to
for
be able to land
yeah.
safely.
Yeah. So all of that, when you start dealing with horse people, that starts becoming factors for some of our clients for sure. Um, Amy. Amy is from New Jersey. Can you turn on? Oh, there you are. Okay.
Hi, ladies.
Hi. How are you? Okay.
And gentlemen. I don't know if we have any gentlemen on the call. I can't see too many of you, but
We
hello.
don't. We don't. So what everybody was doing is going around and talking about who they are, what areas they cover, what they specialize in, and then what their experience is with horses, with selling horse farms, and then outside of selling horse farms.
Sure. So, hi, everyone. I'm Amy Butevich. I'm part of a sister team. My sister Stacy and I sell horse properties together in New Jersey. Our business is called Butevich Lifestyle Real Estate. So if you want to learn more about us, we have our own website, which is butevich.com, Butewicz. Again, it was very for us to brand our last name. And so people know us obviously through the horses, but also through the real estate. So that was very important to us. Sorry, I think my video kicked out again. I apologize. And for us, we cover the entire state of New Jersey. I've been a realtor now going on 9 years. Hard to believe. I left a career as a pharmacist and joined Stacy back in 2016, and the rest is history. And we've gotten to know Kelly and the Homes and Farm team, through a very large referral network of equestrian agents. And so for us, it's been really, growing our business through referrals. I say pretty much every year we average, give or take, around $20 million volume sold. We're just absolutely love what we do, selling farms and lands. Again, we're both equestrians, grew up with horses. Stacy currently is more of the hunter jumper world. She brings in investment horses from Europe and trains. And then, I also have, not only riding horses, but I do have race horses as well. So specifically standardbreds and harness racing. So I will tell any agents out in the Midwest who are Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, get ready for a very big push of buyers into the Midwest that are racing clients, because we're going to see a lot of buyers going into the Midwest for sure. So again, we're here, happy to support the group, happy to take your referrals in New Jersey.
Thank you, Amy. That was great to hear. If you guys come across anybody that's looking to move to Tennessee, I have a horse farm that's listed just over 5 million in West Tennessee, and it's a hunter jumper place. It has 2 arenas and almost 70 stalls and about 80 acres, and then it has a Grand Prix jumping course as well.
Perfect.
If any of the clientele is looking for a training facility, and also they can yield between 40 and 70,000 a month just in the boarding fees before trainer or anything like that. So it's a very profitable location if you come across anybody in the hunter jumper world that's looking for something like that.
Perfect. Well, we will absolutely refer them to you. And, we are very generous with our referrals. So we know that you're a go-to for Tennessee and a couple of those surrounding states, Kelly. So
Yeah.
Can't thank you enough for being one of our partners.
Yeah, thank you for joining this. So And thanks everybody that has gotten on here. Like I said, we're gonna help put this together and hopefully it will grow over time and we can maybe even sync up with some of the things that Amy's doing. Amy has a Facebook group that is a referral system for equestrians as well. If you guys aren't in there, I definitely encourage you guys to get in there because there's constantly agents looking for equestrian agents across the country. But I was thinking maybe we could do another video in the future and grab some more people. But like I said, we're gonna be taking this video and breaking it up and making marketing pieces and putting together public resources for everybody so that clients, customers know where to go grab people when they're looking for people in different states. So hopefully we will be able to do another video soon and we'll get some more people on here and get to know each other a little bit more. Maybe talk about the properties that we have listed or coming and help. Maybe you guys might run across somebody that may be good for one of our properties or vice versa. I know that a lot of times we get big training barns for sale. And we're looking to get people in that aren't necessarily looking to relocate to Tennessee, although Tennessee does have no state income tax, by the way, and our property taxes are insanely low. So we do get trainers and stuff or owners that want to come in, but we have a lot of training barns that are going to require specialty buyers. Like the one training barn I just mentioned, it's a very unique buyer and typically your trainers can't afford that, an owner can. But I think that this would be a great page to get on and talk to each other about because I'm sure all of you guys also get in the same issue when it comes to marketing these horse farms is we're very limited in the areas that we can market and network with like people and maybe get it in front of other clientele. If you're talking to, clients, you might be like, oh yeah, I was talking to, one of us and there is this horse farm and it's here and it might interest one of your clients as well. So I think it would be a great resource for each other.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies. Thank you for everybody that joined, and we'll get you over everything that we put together. And if you guys put together any marketing pieces yourselves, please, I know that we want to be tagged in it, so tag all of us. Make sure we all friend each other and support each other's businesses, and remember to like and comment on everything. So, all right. Thank you, guys, and have a great weekend. That's exactly the kind of collaboration that makes all the difference. Whether you're buying or selling, having a network of equestrian real estate professionals on your side is a huge advantage to you. So, if you are in the market for a horse farm or to sell your horse farm, don't just work with any real estate agent. Work with somebody who lives and breathes equestrian real estate and collaborates with other specialists to get the best results. At Home and Farms Realty, we are always guiding you to every step of the way. If you have questions or you need help finding the perfect horse farm, reach out. We would love to connect you with our resources. And before you go, please don't forget to subscribe to All Things Horse Farms. Share this episode with fellow equestrians, leave us a review, create a conversation, like the video, make a comment, and until next time, happy riding, and may you always find the perfect place to call home for you and your horse.